Good evening. You're listening to Eagles on Air through the Sportanarium stream, and tonight we are joined by Chris off Twitter. What's your Twitter handle again, Chris?
CHR15PG, just to make it complicated.
Great stuff. Chris is a Leeds fan, and we're delighted that Chris has joined us tonight. We did invite a few other people from the Leeds fan base, but I think they bottled it because I, for one, believe that they got a bit shy, but, it's worth digging that little one in there for us. And we've also got Alex with us tonight, and myself, Steve. So we're going to talk a bit about Palace. We've got a bit of an agenda on Palace, and we're going to bring in some points of view from Chris as well. Yeah. And we're going to speak about Leeds and some agenda items that are linked specifically to those guys. And then we'll finish up with what we think the score is going to be on Monday night. Wow. And then we'll have a bit of a laugh doing that, guys. You all up for that?
Of course. Sounds good, yeah.
First thing we're going to talk about today is obviously Zaha being injured. We've got a history, haven't we, Alex, where when he's injured, we just don't seem to be able to win games. And do you think that Monday night, tomorrow night, it's going to be...
it's going to be no different.
Do you think it's going to be no different? Do you think we're going to struggle?
Yeah, to be honest, we always struggle without Wilf. It's a guarantee almost to the point where we think we're going to cope with him, and then it gets into the first 5 minutes and we just realise, no, we're not. Eze might kind of void that sort of gap, but talisman Wilf will obviously definitely be missed. But we shall see. I'm not holding my breath.
I think it's a prime opportunity for Eze to take that step up.
Of course.
Listen, in the first game at home against Leeds, with the way that team plays, I just thought we're going to get an absolute trouncing, and I couldn't believe the scoreline. To beat them 4-1. Admittedly, a few things went our way, but Eze was unbelievable that night and unplayable, and Leeds just didn't know how to cope with him. And he was the key difference, to be fair.
Yeah.
Which was surprising, but playing at home, Chris. Me, Alex, and Ben in previous shows we've spoken about it quite often. Mm-hmm. We can't win at home. So to get a result like that at home is just really bizarre because we've been like that for a number of seasons.
Yeah, I think, like I said, the couple of decisions, that Bamford offside when they were pointing where the ball, which I think the rule's been changed since that happened. It's the same with the cock one at the Liverpool, the handball there. That rule's been changed mid-season as well because of that.
There, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. If it comes
to be fair, Chris, it couldn't have happened to a nicer person.
You know what? He gets a lot of stick, but to actually as a person, he's a top person. Recently with the local schools and stuff around here, donating money and things like that, he is actually a top. But he comes across as a bit of an arrogant prick on the pitch, but that's just, I think, the way he is. I think because he comes across as quite a posh boy, the way he talks and the way he acts and stuff. Mm-hmm. But he's what they say when he first came to Leeds. I did wonder why we were buying him because he wanted that type of striker for us. And from what I'd heard about the type of striker Bielsa wanted. But he's been absolutely class. He got some stick last season because he did miss some absolute sitters. And even he's admitted that. But this season he's been, he's getting talked about an England call-up and stuff like that. You can't.
We might as well focus on Bamford, Alex, just for now, because he was one of the agenda items. What is it that Bielsa's doing with Bamford to get him playing so well? I mean, he was at Palace. He was absolutely shocking. And he didn't really do a lot at Chelsea, to be fair. And he's been a bit of a journeyman until he came to you guys. So something's obviously clicked. He's got that love from the manager, but I mean, based on previous form and previous ability, it's like he's a different player.
Yeah, he's like I say, he works his ass off. You know what I mean? Sometimes he don't always score the goals, but his work rate is unbelievable. If you watched him per game, his work rate is absolutely quality. He never stops, and I genuinely think Bielsa's just giving him that belief. And because even when he were having bad runs, even when Ruth were there and last season, he never really dropped him. And I think if as a man, even as a player, if you're having a couple of shit games, your manager say, "No, I still believe in you." I think that's what it is. He's just giving him the belief, and I think he does a lot more linking up play as well, which makes him a much better player. I think him coming deep a lot of the time to linking other players, what makes him a much better striker. Like I say, good call up. I wouldn't have ever said that last season, but it is what it is. That's how good of a season he's having.
Yeah, I mean, if he gets an England call up, he's not going to.
He's not going to play. Let's be honest.
I mean, he's just going to get that cap, which, fair play to him. But at the end of the day, he's not going to get ahead of the likes of Kane. He's not going to get ahead of Rashford and people like that. I mean, last season, what did he get for you? Was it like 17 goals?
I think it was 16 goals he got last season. Yeah, in league.
And he's got 11 in the Premier League already.
Yeah, it could genuinely. Like I think if he'd have took his chances last season, he could have hit 30. He could have done what Chris Wood did for us a few years ago and got 30. With that, he did miss a lot of chances.
Because a lot of players that do well for you, especially up front, they tend to use Leeds as a stepping stone club. I mean, Chris Wood went to a bigger club in Burnley. You know,
I wouldn't say that, but like. Is even Burnley ever a bigger step up in anything?
Well, they've got the manager with the deepest voice in the world. I think. I don't think you can get any deeper than that. So,
Strepsil Dyche.
Yeah. But ironically, on the subject of Sean Dyche, he's tipped to be one of the favourites to come to Palace. I mean, Alex, what's your thoughts on that?
No, it would just be a no. I don't have to. There's no reason to explain anything else. I just think it would be a massive no. I think, to be honest, everyone knows who I think would be a perfect fit up here, but I don't think Steve would get him. It would be Lampard.
Yeah, Lampard's dropped away from. He was the favourite, but it's now looking like it's John Terry, which is quite surprising. I don't know where that's come from. I mean, fair enough, he's doing well at Aston Villa, but he's got no pedigree. He's got no real proof that he can manage a team. I mean, if anything, let's be honest, the wives need to be on the lookout, don't they? If John Terry becomes the manager.
Exactly. Who's the wives? It's got to think about what wives are going to be available. Well, scrap that. He ain't going to be thinking about the bench, is he? Really, coming when he's at Palace.
Oh, Connor Wickham's wife.
I was going to mention
decent, and so is Joel Ward. So.
Mr. Terry's probably already scouting. I'm joking. He probably's not.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking through the list earlier as well on that. I mean, it's quite interesting. I know a lot of the Palace faithful, especially on Twitter, are looking at Steve Cooper at Swansea and Thomas Frank at Brentford. I mean, if either one of those teams don't come up, to be honest with you, they'd be one of my main preferences. I'll take Frank Lampard all day long. I don't think he'd come to us because he knows that he's not going to get the transfer kitty to spend. Yeah. But equally, on the flip side, if you think about it logically, what's quite interesting is the fact that if he did come to us, you know that the youngsters are going to get a chance.
Yeah, exactly.
You know that he's going to give that belief in them and he's going to get them playing and he'll get a decent spirit. But also, if he knows that he hasn't got the money to spend, perhaps the pressure's off for him and it's a chance for him to really develop some Premiership management pedigree, if you like, rather than going to a club like Chelsea, which was probably the wrong move for him. It's probably 5 or 10 years too soon, I think.
Possibly.
I think
the immediate thing for him was like, you've got to win trophies. Well, if you don't do that at Chelsea, 14 managers in 18 seasons is testament to that. Yeah. You know, and Tuchel, I mean, he won't last at Chelsea. If he doesn't bring trophies, he'll be gone as well. So it doesn't matter who they employ. It's a poison chalice. So I think there's a lot less pressure for someone who's young to come in at the Palace helm. But my preference would be Cooper. I'll take Cooper from Swansea all days. His football's really attractive, and he gets the youngsters playing as well. Same as Thomas Frank as well. I wouldn't mind him, but I definitely don't want a Mark Hughes or a Chris Coleman. God, no.
No. Definitely not Chris Coleman or Mark Hughes. That's guaranteed, to be honest. If you'd see the fan base, if you put a poll out, that would be 0% both of them. But with regards to a high-flying manager, you can hope for, or be Steven Gerrard, but he ain't going to leave Rangers, is he now? But
and that's another great suggestion, Alex. I would all day long take Steven Gerrard. It's an opportunity for him to come into the Premier League and prove himself. But is it another typical kind of Frank Lampard scenario where he's gone to Chelsea and unfortunately for him failed? Could Gerrard do the same for us? I don't know, but if he wins the title, I think he'll stay up there to defend it at the very least. Unless unless Klopp decides to go, because I know Germany are interested in him. So
if he don't win fuck all this season, he'll go.
With Gerrard, there was an article a while back saying that Leeds were apparently looking at him for a long-term successor of Bielsa for Gerrard. I can't remember. I think it was I don't know which paper it was, but that were mentioned about Gerrard coming to us. So he is a good manager. Obviously, it's Scottish. Everyone says it's a Mickey Mouse league and stuff. So if anybody can manage up in Scotland. So, but he is a good manager. He's Gerrard definitely. And with Frank Lampard,
but if you're just going off piste with Scotland, if you look at it, Celtic have won 9 in a row and they've dominated that league. So for someone to come in and get their team,
he's changed the mentality at Rangers.
Dynamics of it have massively moved. But it's a difficult league to win if you're not Celtic, and Rangers have been in the mud quite a lot in recent times, especially with their demotion to they went to League
2
or something?
Yeah, League 2, then went round to
bottom,
didn't they?
What a drop that was.
But they came back, and they've done well, and they've had some torrid times, but I think it's their title to be had, but Gerrard will probably stay to defend it, no doubt.
Yeah.
Just moving back to Palace, Alex, how are we feeling about Gyro and his new contract?
Give him an empty contract to let him put what he wants on there, to be honest, because the guy is absolutely a marvel. It just shows that there was a few people that jumped on that bandwagon early doors that was driving it, but he can't do any wrong. I see how his link-up play is. It reminds me somewhat reminiscent of Kabay.
Well, I was going to say that it's interesting because a lot of people have said that we haven't replaced Kabay. Well, actually, we had him there, and Frank de Boer, he had his bad time at Palace, but he saw straight into Riedewald and played him right from the start. And I think Riedewald's age has gone against him because Roy just simply doesn't trust young players.
Yeah,
which is horrific.
Is he only about 24? He's still only young, isn't he?
I think he's 23, or he might have just turned 24.
It shows any age you're capable. It doesn't regardless of your age. If you're capable, you're capable.
Mm.
And I think we're probably next season. If he carries on like this, I think we'll give him another new contract because it's only 3 years that we've renewed it for, which is quite surprising given how well he's played. But we've chatted about this, Chris, in our last 2 shows. Every time he has a blinder, literally the next game he gets dropped, and it makes no sense whatsoever to us as Palace fans. It's just like, if he's playing that well, surely he's got to be the first name on the team sheet. And
especially when he won Player of the Month, for October, and yet he dropped him the game after. What goes for you had to drop one of the best performing players of the match?
Yeah. It's a bit bizarre, isn't it?
It's quite interesting. I mean, you've got a manager who's old. Mm-hmm. We've got a manager who's old, but the differences in their mentalities and the differences in the way that they set up the sides, it's just worlds apart. I mean, our disposition is to defend and hold tight for 80, 85 minutes. Your disposition is to attack. I mean, granted, no disrespect meant, but your defence is appalling. It's a championship defence, and even the 2 guys that you've signed, it's unfortunate your recruitment team has dropped a clanger. And you can never tell when you sign people, but those 2 defenders are made of glass. And it's pointless. I mean, Liverpool got that with Matip. He can't sort of play more than 1 game, and Llorente came back, done his hamstring. Koch came back and done himself. Sounds quite odd saying that. I thought about that when I said that, to be fair. But I mean, everyone's talking about Ayling. I mean, I've had a few kind of sort of debates, if you want to call it, on social media about that with Leeds fans. But I mean, again, it's another one of those scenarios that Bielsa seems to sort of eke out those inches with some of their players, some of the players you guys have got, and Ayling is outperforming himself, if that makes any real sense.
Oh yeah, Ayling for me has been player of season for us. He's been absolutely class, and like you said, it's a championship defence. You've got Meslier in net, he's a 20-year-old keeper. Yeah, he's made a couple of mistakes, but he'll be a top goalkeeper. You can see that. Cooper, You know, he's a class captain. For me, he's not Premier League class. You know,
why do people go in on him? Why do
I don't
people
know.
go in? If he's the captain and he's the kind of central part of the club and stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's a pillar of the community as well. It's just, it seems really odd that
it's bizarre. He does get the abuse is unwarranted. What he gets, you know, I'm not saying he's not a good player because he is, but if we want to step up to that next level, long term, I don't know if he is the answer. You know what I mean? We need, you know, you got to get better players. Like, as you know, we've signed Rafinha, we've signed Rodrigo. You know, you're getting quality players in. It's like, you know, defensively, left back. We need a left back. We've needed a left back for about 3 years. We thought Barry Douglas was the answer, and it never sort of took off for him because he was class at Wolves, and it never took off for him. You know, and then he was obviously back down at Blackburn. But Cooper, it's unwarranted. Yeah, I think a lot of it goes from when he was first signed for us, the League One Liam, and he were atrocious, absolutely shocking. But like I said, that what Bielsa's done to us is unbelievable. The season before he came, we had Thomas Christensen and Paul Eckingbottom in charge, and we finished 15th. Bielsa took that same team pretty much with a couple additions to the playoff semi-final, and all right, we bottled it at the end. You know, big time. We blew up, and again, I think this Bielsa burnout's a load of bollocks. It is. We just bottled it because even when you look at the stats and everything, we won. You know, we were running more. Everything just didn't add up to this Bielsa burnout. We just bottled it, simple, plain and simple. You know, that Derby game, we hit the self-destruct button.
Did you get promotion because of COVID?
Did we bollocks? She talks shit, does that woman?
She's an amazing pundit. I'll rate her.
It's fucking terrible.
What's an opinion?
Wow. She's fucking. But it's not just that. The week after, or a couple of weeks after, when she's watching Chelsea in the FA Cup, and she says Mason Mount will be just happy for the 3 points. She played in the fucking FA Cup, for fuck's sake. You can't get 3 points in the FA Cup. It's like, but the thing is, I think the Leeds Twitter got so much unnecessary stick because they didn't out her, they outed the comment, and even Jimmy Hasselbank agreed to it, and even the video shows him agreeing to it, and that's what he said on the tagged Amazon Prime. And the amount of unnecessary abuse, and they're saying that, and then all these women and that Megan Rapinoe, whatever she's called, starts flying in and stuff. It's like, oh, get a grip, man, seriously. It's just, it went way over the top. And then like I say, she'd commentated on a few other games and stuff. And it's not just her, it's like people, last couple of weeks, they keep saying Stuart Dallas is Leeds born. We were born in Cookstown in Northern Ireland. Do you know what I mean? It's just basic... basic research before you come on to there.
He used to be a wing back for you, didn't he? And you reverted him to midfield. I could have sworn that he was a wing back.
Well, when he first signed, he were a winger. When he signed him from Brentford, he were a winger. When it were Rui Rosler who signed him, we signed him from Brentford, and he were a winger. He stayed there, and then when Bielsa's played him anywhere. He's played centre midfield, right wing, left back, right back. I think the only place he hasn't played is probably goal. He's Mr. Versatile, and again, he's another player that Bielsa's just turned completely. A couple of seasons ago, he were absolutely shocking, and I used to slate him. I genuinely did. I used to say he was shite and everything, and then I don't know what it was. It was just before the Derby playoff semi-final. Couple of games before, he got this bit of form, and then all of a sudden he's just from there. He's just been unbelievable, and he played a semi-final when we lost. He was man at match. He was absolutely class. But again, it's Bielsa. What he's done with these players, like I said, gone from 15th to playoff semis, and with pretty much 90% of the same squad. And this is why Leeds fans love Bielsa, because of what he's done. I know he gets a lot of stick in the press, and the other fans don't get it. They don't understand why we love him so much. But it's not us that are saying, basically kissing Leeds' ass. It's the media. We're happy for you to say that. Leeds hate. We love to be hated. You know what it's like. We don't want to be anybody's second team or anything like that.
Imagine supporting Palace and Evan Hodgson. I mean, it was quite interesting. I don't know if you did you listen to the press conference that he had, Alex, when he was pushed over quite a number of occasions about his future. It was quite interesting. That
I vaguely saw something, but you're going to laugh, but I can't watch his interviews. I like my TV and I like my Mac. I ain't going to punch him.
Yeah.
I get angry when I just see him. I think he's patronising and he just doesn't he doesn't see what everyone else sees. He must watch a completely different game, like a sort of in a different parallel universe compared to what everyone else watches. I just can't watch his interviews.
Yeah, I think he was kind of skating over the fact that he was pushed quite often on a few occasions about what's your future look like, what you're going to do, and he just said that he was happy with the way things were going right now. He's happy with the fact he's involved in football, and we'll just see what the club decides. We'll see what the summer sorts out and stuff. I mean, Chris, me and Alex, we detest him. We detest his managerial style. We detest we detest his tactics. We can't stand his formations. We can't stand the fact that it's. If you were Palace and you watched the games, Chris, you'd see that every single game, aside of the Leeds game, aside of the United game and the West Brom game, we've literally sat back for 80 to 85 minutes, made no subs, made no changes, made no formation changes. It's just stick to the same thing. And we've been battered on a number of occasions. I mean, Liverpool hurt badly. That was a shocking defeat. We had a 4-0 against City. We had a 4-0 against Chelsea. But then we go away and we play United and we beat them 3-1, and we play you. For some reason, we seem to play similar to the way we play away against you. We give you a thumping 4-1, which it was just shocked me. I couldn't believe it. And then, I know a lot of people said that the West Brom game, we were fortunate that there was a sending off, but at the end of the day, it was our biggest win, our biggest ever win away. And you've got to be playing well to put 5 past the team. It doesn't matter who they are. And West Brom have had some good results this season as well. They've had a few wins and a few good draws and stuff against big sides that you wouldn't have expected. But we give them an absolute thumping. It was great to see. But I just wish we would play like we do away at home. Because when you're at home should be your fortress. That's where you should be thinking, hang on a second, if we get a third of the game's results as wins and maybe another third as draws, or perhaps you're thinking 25, 24 points roughly, that forms the core of your ability to progress. And our ambition is to stay up. Yeah. That's what our chairman says. That's what the club says.
9 seasons in, that's pretty good, isn't it?
It's terrific. We should be looking at. I said it. Was it yesterday or the day before on social media? I put we should be looking at the top 10 as an aim.
Yeah, if you want
not a mandatory thing, not a mandatory requirement, but the philosophy should be: come on, let's try.
Yeah.
I mean, Burnley, they got. All right, it kind of hurt them a bit because of the number of games they played, but they made Europe. Why can't we make Europe? Yes, it probably doesn't mean a lot it doesn't mean as much as it used to, perhaps, because you're playing on a Thursday night against some side in Macedonia or whatever, but it's still Europe, and that's what the fans want.
And if you get Europa, some sort of even the qualifying stages, you can build on that eventually. But just getting to that point, we can strive. It's just looking at the players on paper. We should sound arrogant. We could be getting for those points, but we end up getting close, then just falling away when we really can't afford to.
Well, I think one of the biggest things last season, Chris, that infuriated me and Alex, was quite interesting and funny as well, was that against Burnley, we were a win away from going 6th or 7th or something silly like that, and Hodgson had to be reminded in the media interview before the game
how close it
was.
If
we'd have won, how close we were to European spot. And he went, "Oh yeah, I should take a look at that."
Wow, really?
That surely be your team talk.
Yeah, you wouldn't need to say anything else. You just show him the position and think, "Yeah, here you go, lads. Have a go at this," and basically a bit of freedom.
Is it frustrating as a Palace fan for seeing teams go down, get relegated, and come back up, such as Wolves, who've then gone into Europe? Aston Villa this season, who've gone from obviously nearly getting relegated to now pushing for Europe.
Yep.
And seeing other teams like that when you've been in there 9 years, and you've literally basically stayed the same for them 9 years.
Very stagnant. Yeah, it definitely is frustrating. Definitely.
The mad thing is, because our owners, they're worth £3 billion between them, but they've not spent a penny. They put £100 million fund in at the beginning as a commitment towards the stadium or the stadium revamp, and it got approved, and it's been approved for like I think 2.5 years now, and nothing's happened.
Yeah.
We sold Wan-Bissaka for 50 million. Nothing's been spent out of that. That's not gone towards anything. And I think they
balance the books, really, don't you think?
And it's like, what's the actual point in you being here? You know, and you've got teams like Burnley being bought out, and the ownership looking to significantly invest. Newcastle, unluckily it didn't happen in the end, but they've got a number of people that are looking at them. But Palace just, I don't know what's going on. You've got two stubborn people that are not willing to listen to any offers by the looks of it, and just want to stay in charge of the club. And it's just what a waste of everyone's time.
Well, it looks like to me, to be honest, they came in with the intention of possibly doubling or tripling in their money. That's all really in my eyes. But
yeah, well, that's what it is. I mean, the stadium revamp, Chris, interestingly, I think it is. Is it going to go up to 36,000 or something? It was 35,000, wasn't it?
Something like that. Yeah,
something like that. And I think there was going to be at least a couple of stands completely changed, and it's going to look fantastic if it actually happens.
I think I've seen it on the images and stuff look decent. That's what it look like.
But 2.5 years later, it's just it's really bizarre how nothing's happening with that, and it's just like we just want ownership of the club where it's like we want to take you forward rather than just accept the bare minimum.
Yeah, it's almost like in limbo. And to be honest, I don't think my the new stands at Palace.
Yeah, but don't get wrong. As a Leeds fan, we all know about shit owners, so we've had plenty over the last few years. Absolutely plenty.
Steve does right. It's just the two Americans that he's got wheeling them in. But
I was just going to divert the subject matter to the under-23s, Alex, and obviously we've loaned out 4 players, and we ended up buying in 2 players. I mean, I don't know a tremendous amount about these kids. One was at Chelmsford and scoring for fun or something, or playing really well, and then there was a kiddie from Cork.
I see that. Yeah, you sent
quite interesting that we've done that. But what does the future hold for those guys, and especially the 4 that are out on loan? I do really worry about what it looks like for them.
If you're coming in from teams like Cork and possibly Cheltenham, and you think the players that have come in compared to the players that have gone out on loan, why don't you just keep hold of them and build on the youngsters and maybe filter a few in at the end of the season when we're guaranteed safe? It's just, I don't know, I just don't get the whole idea. We want to build for the future, and yet we're shipping out all these players out on loan to try and make the experience, but get experience in a Palace shirt and then get a few games under your belt at the end of the season. No, I thought that would be kind of the route to build on, sort of looking upon.
Well, last season Hodgson said, didn't he? With was it 7 games left? He said he was going to play. He was going to play all the youngsters and give them a go, and
Pierrick and all them boys. Yeah,
I think Pierrick got 8 minutes, and then he singled him out at the end of the game after he got the 8 minutes. He said, "Oh, he should be buying me a bottle of red wine."
Cheeky.
What, for 8 minutes? I mean,
wow. So what's he going to give him for like 14 minutes? A crate.
Crate of Stella. Go out and beat your wife up.
I just don't get that. If you want to build for the future, sustain and build rather than just shipping out players and get them an experience. But
see, the weird thing is, Chris, twice we've had no option but to revert to the younger players. And we pulled through Wan-Bissaka. We had an injury crisis, basically. There were literally no first-team players we could call on. So we pulled him up, and look how we turned out 50 million later. We've then had a similar crisis where we pulled Mitchell up, and he's been a class player. And I know Arsenal were sniffing around him. Whether that's true or not, it's another matter. But it just goes to prove that there clearly is gold in our youth setup.
Yeah,
there's clearly options there. Just give the guys a chance. I mean, what's the worst can happen? If it doesn't work out, you drop them back down and say, put your arm around them and say, look, mate, didn't quite work out. Get your head down and you can try and work yourself back in.
Even if you get to the 40 points early, give them a shout then, really, don't you think?
Well, if you look at Leeds, Jack Clark was class. He's been signed by Spurs. You've got, is it Shackleton?
Jamie Shack, yeah.
He looks a class player. Harrison as well.
Yeah, well, he's still on loan. He's on his third loan now from Man City, but he's supposed to be signing in summer. But it's like you say, if you're good enough, you're old enough type of thing. Fergie was the best one with that, wasn't he? You know, what he did with youngsters. But I think the other day, we had 5 under-23s on our bench. That's what I mean. And Bielsa, that's where Bielsa does it. He prefers to get the youngsters through the under-23. And he's at most under-23 games watching them because that's what he wants to do. He wants to integrate the under-23s into the squad. It's like Pascal Stroy. You know, he were absolutely terrible last season when he played against Cardiff and we were 3-0 up. He came on and it all went to shit. And then this season he's stepped up and he's been class.
We've got the situation that we Monday night where there's quite a few first teamers out, and I think he's got to pull on the under 23s and the Alex. I heard there's going to be quite a few of them on the bench at the very least.
That'd be good to see, wouldn't it?
Which, all right, okay, we've got another injury kind of situation developing, but every cloud for me because I think just give these kids a go. I mean,
what's to lose? It just shows that it's not one mess up that pushing an under 23 player in 2 or 3 last seasons has ever done anything negative. It's absolutely massive positive for everyone involved. I don't know.
There's no real risk at the moment for you, especially because you're not going down. Let's be honest. Exactly. You know, there's not. You know, you're fine. You're safe in that. So you might as well give him a chance. And even if it is just 10 minutes here, 20 minutes there, just breed him in, and then, like you say, you've got your Wan-Bissaka, you had Dimitri Mitchell, and what have you. You've got other players that have come in. Mm-hmm. It's bizarre why he's not doing it. But then again, it's like you say, Hodgson and Bielsa, similar age, but completely two different. You know, mentality in regards to younger players. It's bizarre.
It is. So I'm a Palace fan of saying that.
it's interesting you say that, Chris, though. You know, you sat there and you said, all we're looking for is to stay up. Mm-hmm. And we will stay up. But how much longer does that carry on? Where we're going to each season and we are going to stay up? Because that was the same mentality that the Sunderlands of the world had and the Stokes of the world had, and look what happened to them. Yeah. You know, Sunderland even more so, where they had a double relegation.
Yeah,
with an aging squad, and don't get me wrong, the squad that we've got, there's quality right the way through. There's a few people that we'd probably be quite happy that left, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of the players that we've got that haven't got any marketable value.
Yeah.
And the stupid thing is we keep giving silly contracts out. I mean, you won't be aware of this, but Connor Wickham's a fine example of that. The guy is on another 3-year contract. He's hardly played for us. And by the time he gets to the end of his contract, he would have earned £20 million out of the club.
Yeah.
It's horrific. It's mind-numbingly incomprehensible. It makes no sense. Our recruitment is terrible. Other than Eze, I know Luca, when we first signed him, wasn't too bad. His first season was, well, I say wasn't too bad. That's giving him a bit of disrespect. He was pretty much quality in the first season, but since then it's just like it's kind of dropped back significantly.
Yeah,
and we don't sign players. I mean, Sacco, when he plays, he's great, but he looks like he's got a mistake in him, and you know, 130 grand a week. On the last day of the transfer window, giving him a 4-year contract, I mean, was madness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the problem. We leave all our recruitment to the last day, and we get absolutely hammered on wages. And that's the problem with a sentimentally appointed recruitment team. Mm-hmm. And Dougie Freeman is another pain point for us, isn't it, Al?
Say that for another show, right?
Yeah. Let's move on to Monday night's game. What do we think our side's going to be, Al?
If it's got any sense, I'd say very similar to the previous game, the Newcastle game, without Zaha, obviously. But yeah.
How are we going to play then? What's the formation going to be? Do you think we're going to stick exactly 2 up front, or is it going to be 1?
If he wants to go attacking straight away, chuck on 2. Then if it's not maybe working out, drop 1 back into just behind. But I can't see why wouldn't you kind of replicate what you had winning with against Newcastle. Don't change your winning formation, no, and especially don't change your winning formula.
Do you think Van Aanholt's going to be playing on the left with Mitchell behind him? Because obviously we've got no Wilf. We need to find a different way to channel that area.
Possibly. So it gives him. Yeah, obviously he hasn't got to track back and be missing at the back there when it does involve coming back to defend. But that'd be a good shot, to be honest.
Mateta up front. Is he gonna get his debut?
I reckon he won't start. He'll get a few minutes.
Do you reckon it'll be Benteke and Batshuayi then?
Are
you out on the right or Townsend out on the right?
Benteke and RU, maybe. I don't know. It's always up in the air, to be honest. But I'd put RU on start again, to be honest, without Batshuayi.
Riedewald's got to start.
Has to. If he's the first name I'd be looking for that team sheet with an hour before the kickoff.
Unfortunately, I think Luca will start. Well, actually, no. Did he not get yellow? Is he out?
I didn't actually clock if he got yellow. He's collecting them like stamps.
He does it all the time.
Yeah.
He's just got that foul in him that he costs us sometimes with that, I think. But equally, Gyro coming back into the mix is a godsend, really, because he's been unbelievable. He's just got to be the first name on the team sheet for me.
Definitely. No, I totally agree. I agree with that.
I'd start with Klein as well. He's been very solid this season so far. Ward's had several mistakes. I thought he was quite a suspect in some of the games that he's played just of late. But I'd definitely go with Klein.
I think everyone knows my opinion on Ward, but he has like one. When he does have that one game, there's like another 9 bad ones to follow when he does play. But
do we know if Tompkins is back? Was he still injured?
I don't know. He might be possibly still injured. My back two, my favourite back two would be Cahill Tompkins, left to right.
All day long. Because that's the bizarre thing, Chris. Defensively, more often than not, we're really solid at the back. We don't concede a lot. We either concede loads or concede nothing at all. And we'll go through periods where we have several games where we don't concede any, and then we'll come up against like one of the big sides. And unfortunately, this season we've taken several batterings. But we've held our own against Spurs. We got a decent point against Spurs. That was a great result. Obviously, Arsenal, they've been on a resurgence until they lost to Villa. We've had some good results, and Man United as well. That was a tremendous result, which I rejoiced in quite significantly.
Why not?
But I think that we need to give Mateta a start. I don't know what he's going to do on the left, but I think PVA would be a good option there because going forward, he's actually really good. He delivers some fantastic crosses at times.
Yeah, he does.
It's just the tracking back that's a deep concern. But if he's got Mitchell behind him,
it gives him incentive to stay up there, doesn't it?
Exactly. He hasn't got that issue.
Freedom. Exactly, a bit of freedom. He ain't got to worry about getting back. But
and I think does Rafinha play on the right?
Yeah, usually, yeah.
Okay, that'd be tough.
So I think Rafinha, with PVA there, I think Rafinha, I'm not saying he'll struggle, but I think he'll find it a bit harder, especially the fact that PVA can defend as well from time to time. But if he's in that area and he's got Mitchell behind him, I think there'll be less space for Rafinha to try and exploit.
Try to cancel out as well, yeah.
He's likely to change it up though. Usually you see Harrison and Rafinha swap wings quite regularly during games, so it might be.
We do that all the time. We do that all the time with Zaha and Townsend if they're playing, or Ayew and Zaha. But it'd be interesting to see where we play Eze. Is he going to have that free role? Is he going to be just behind the front two? I much prefer him there because I just think the way he glides across the pitch is so good to watch.
Yeah.
And I think he's unstoppable. I mean, the goal against Sheffield United.
Wow.
That was just what a goal! Yeah. What a goal! And he's up for Premier League goal of the month for that, and he should win that.
So yeah, I'm right. So not biased.
Yeah, well, if he played for someone else, I'd still say the same. I'd say that goal's got to be goal of the month.
Yeah,
he is class.
I've got the ability to recognise talent.
Yeah, the thing is, the reason why that made it look so easy is because it does make it look so easy, and it makes teams hard to defend against them. And yeah, look at the amount of grass he covered as well. So
yeah, it's I think we're very privileged to get him. Whether he stays at Palace in a long time, I don't know. We'll see. But for now, we've got him. For now, he complements Zaha, and rather than, I know he's not playing against Leeds, unfortunately, because of a hamstring injury, and I don't know how long he's going to be out for. But you know, Eze is just another problem for opposing teams to consider. Yeah. So it's much more of an improvement to us as a proposition against teams, because the whole focus isn't on one player, and I've really enjoyed that aspect this season. Just going to move on to a few questions to you, Chris, in terms of Leeds. Let's address the elephant in the room here, Bielsa. Yeah. Why is he so good for Leeds? What is this? What is this myth that he's so good for the club and you couldn't cope without him?
Do you know what? We've had years of shit. I've been there when we were in the Champions League, then all the way down to League One, going to Carlisle on a Tuesday night, Johnston's Paint Trophy. And we've had some terrible managers. Neil Warnock, Brian McDermott.
Don't criticise the Warnock. He's a cracking manager.
He's a legend.
Dave Ockaday, and we've had some Paul Eckingbottom, so like you said, we've had years of absolutely shit. And then when Bielsa came in, and that first game in charge against Stoke, and they were newly relegated, and we thought, well, we're not going to get out of this because they were favourites to go with Gary Rowett in charge. And we absolutely battered him, and we thought, bloody hell, who's this team? Obviously, you know about Bielsa's style and how he plays and stuff like that. And then we started going on a bit of a run, and then we demolished Derby, and then we were just beating every team going forward. And then just the way he plays, and it's just exciting. You're going to be entertained. And even when we were, there were frustrating games and we'd lost a few, you just sat there thinking, you can't wait to you got that buzz about going back to Ellen Road again, because it got to a point where you were just going down for a crack with lads and having a laugh and a beer, and you spent most of the time talking rather than watching game because it was that shit. But with you, literally the atmosphere from when Bielsa took over, it just changed again in the stands, and Ellen Road, it was just a fortress again. It was just pure noise, and that's what he's brought back to us. He just brought that belief back, and it's not just obviously on the pitch; it's off the pitch. What he's changed he's changed all the training ground, the mentality of the players. He's had, when he first came in, he had the players litter picking and things like that to bring them back down to ground. And
that's a rubbish thing to do, isn't
it? That type of thing. And I don't know if you've seen the Amazon, the Amazon documentary about Leeds and stuff on there, and just how he is with people, and he's clearly a quality coach. You don't have Pep Guardiola, Pochettino saying these things about him, and you get these idiots on TalkSport saying, "Oh, he's a myth and he's this and he's that." And, why does Pep Guardiola look up to him, and Pochettino look up to him, and these type of people look up to him? He's changed completely the mentality of Leeds as a club. And it's funny, like you say, you see some Leeds fans, when we lose a game, they go, absolutely lose the shit. And he's brought that winning mentality back into the club. We've been so used to winning for the last 3 years. So when we start losing a few games, it's like, well, hang on, what's this? We're not used to this type of thing, So, and that's what he's instilled back into us.
So why do you find it so hard to get him to stay any longer than 1 year at a time? Then
he's always
a really odd thing to do.
That's just him. That's who he is. He's always done it. Wherever he's gone, he's only ever signed a 1 year contract, and he will sign it 1 year and look at it that way. And it's like people say, "Oh, give him £3 million a year or whatever we give him a year." But what he does, that pays for him and all of his staff. So what he does, he gets that money and he pays his staff individually. That's how he does it. And he's, like I said, and he has a shitload of staff. You've seen them all on touchline; they're all going bloody absolutely mental and what have you. And that's just who he is. And then, like I say, there were a worry after the first year, after we lost to Derby in the playoffs. You start thinking he's going to go, and it's back to square one. And with that, I felt that was a missed opportunity at the time. We had a massive opportunity to go back to the Premier League, and then when he stayed on, you're thinking, right, can we do it again? And even he said he couldn't get the same out of the players again. And he did, and he even tenfold. And what's the first thing? So obviously we only went up because of COVID, but that's her dodgy opinion on that one. And it's just how he is and how we play. Like you say, fans of the opponent don't get why people get so excited about us. And we're defensively, we are woeful, but attacking wise, but it's exciting to watch. And it's even like, say, we were 4-0 down at Man United and we were still going for it. And, usually you think, well, hang on, we're 4-0 down, let's damage limitations, let's sit back and let's just do. Nah, Leeds just went for it again. And again, 5-1, 6-1. And then
that's the polar opposite of Palace. We're 4-0 down. And it was like, oh, well, we won't change the tactic, we'll carry on. It don't matter if we concede some more goals. We'll just carry on with the same tactic because it will work. It will change the game.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's like, I think the first game of the season against Liverpool, like I say, that shocked me, to be fair, how well we played against them. And obviously Liverpool this season have been nowhere near as good as they have been. But the way we played them, we just kept going and going. And I think some teams will find us out and they will know, right, let's sit back, let's hit them on the counter, like you did at your place. You hit us on the counter several times.
How well did we play that night then, Chris, from your perspective?
To be fair, after about 2-1, after 3-1, I was that pissed off. I stopped bloody really watching it. I was still watching it, but I was just I'd just given up. I think after Elder Costa's own goal, after how that went in, I still don't know how that bloody went in. And it's just, like I say, I was that fuming from the decision for Bamford to be given offside as well. So, usually during game I'm quite calm, but that game proper pissed me off. I was proper wound up the whole way through that. But no, Bielsa's just, like I say, he's just absolutely class. And you get these idiots saying stuff about him and people saying, oh, well, he doesn't speak English. He does speak English. He actually is really good at English. He just doesn't in the press because he's such a perfectionist. He doesn't want to come across as saying anything wrong. That's why he uses his translator. But the players, he does speak English to the players. I've known people who've met him in he's known for being in Costa Coffee all the time and stuff. And people have gone up to him and he can speak, he can speak English. But if he could, people say about, oh, well, he can't speak English. What's he doing? If he can't speak English and we're playing as well as we are, imagine if he could speak English. Do you know what I mean? He's like I say, he's class for me. Like I say, he's the best manager in apart from Howard Wilkinson in my time since I've been watching Leeds. He's just unbelievable.
He's got average players playing really well. I mean, what's the key to success behind that? Because if you look at it, no disrespect meant, Ayling, those sort of players that are just, if they're at any other side, your Bamfords, if they're at other side, then they're not playing. They're not even getting on the team sheet. They'd be lucky to get substitution appearances or cup games. What is it that he does to get these people playing so well?
I think, to be fair, you've got to give a lot of credit to the players, because if you're not the type of player that Bielsa will want, for example, if you're not going to put in the graft that he wants you to do, you're not going to be there. And I think a lot of players have, like I say, when you've heard the interviews from different players have said, if you're not going to put in the hard work and you're not going to put in these long days, there is times when I think in his first summer, the players were there from 8 o'clock in the morning till like 5, 6 o'clock at night, which football is usually there for a couple of hours and then they'll go home and they're doing double, treble sessions. He's built at Thorpe Arch, he's built sleeping areas and stuff for the players so they can have a nap and stuff during training. That's how intense he is. And I think it's his intensity of his training. Like I say, you've heard of Murder Ball. Obviously on a Wednesday, every Wednesday, it's 20 minutes, non-stop football. It's literally balls in and out. And I think a lot of it, like I say, is credit to the players. They've built in, they've bought into what he wants to do. They've bought into how he wants to play, how he wants to train. And if not, then, like I say, there won't be the type of players, like say Stuart Dallas, Luke Ayling, even Cooper, these type of players. Calvin Phillips as well. A couple of seasons ago, Leeds fans would have probably let him go for a couple of million. Do you know what I mean? And then next thing you know, there were talks last season of him going to Aston Villa for 25 million, and everyone Leeds fans, were absolutely gutted. And that's just how he's changed players. And now, obviously, Phillips is an England player. He's just changed so much for players.
I was going to say, it's quite interesting you were talking about the training and the intensity, but I saw a lot of criticism in that last season when you were trying to come up and you had a lot of injuries and stuff, and everyone was pointing the finger at the fact that there's too much training being done. I mean, do you think that goes against you? Because your injury record isn't great, is it really?
It isn't, and I think with Bielsa, he's stubborn. He's set in his ways. Like with a small squad, he only likes a small squad. The way he does, he has a small squad, and then he integrates the under 23s into it. And it is frustrating sometimes for Leeds fans, but end of the day, he always comes up with the goods. It's frustrating when we're getting thumped, by Man United, and we got thumped by Tottenham and this, but then then we go and beat Leicester, and that's what I mean. It's you never know what you're going to get with Leeds United. It's like a box of chocolates. You genuinely don't know what you're going to get each game, and that's why I think it is more exciting. It's like tomorrow, you have not a clue what result it's going to be. You could give us another thumping if you play, the way you did against us last time, and we constantly hit. Then again, we could give you a thumping and give you a double it and get 8-2, maybe 6-2. Who knows?
that must have hurt. I mean, if I was a Leeds fan, Al, you agree with me, won't you, Al? If I was a Leeds fan and I saw my team lose 6-2 to Manchester United, especially when teams like Crystal Palace have gone up there and beaten them 3-1, I mean that must be pretty severe.
The worst thing about that game, we were 2 goals in 4 minutes in the first 4 minutes of the game, and I remember the missus. I was watching it, and the missus were upstairs, and her parents are Man United fans, so that didn't help. And I was watching it, and she came down. She's like, "What's?" I'm just literally sat there with my head in my hands, and she's like, "Have they kicked off yet?" I'm like, "Yeah, they've been playing 5 minutes. We're 2-0 down," and then it just literally, but then again, even though we were 2-3-0 down, we never looked out of the game, which sounds bizarre. But we never did. We still, if we'd have got an early, 2-1, we'd have got one. At 2-0, sorry, we'd have got one. It could have completely changed. And our issue is defensive mistakes. We saw it at Everton the other night. 2 defensive lapses cost us. And like I said to you before, Steve, I genuinely think if Pickford had been in there, I think we'd have won that game, because Olsen just had an absolute masterclass on Tuesday or Wednesday, sorry. And that's just how it is. We're too many defensive mistakes let us down, and it was the same last season. We conceded a lot of goals in the Championship through mistakes. It wasn't through world-class goals or anything like that. It was just through stupid mistakes from individuals.
So let's talk about your feelings on your season so far. I mean, obviously you mentioned quite a number of games there and a few frustrations and stuff, but surely as a Leeds fan base and you representing that tonight on our show, you must be sort of delighted with where you are sitting in the table so far.
Oh, God, yeah.
Just over halfway through the season.
It's your first season coming back up. So 16 years we've been away. Our aim for this season was stay up. Don't matter how, as long as it didn't go to the last game of the season, because my ticket couldn't take that. You know what I mean? It had to be just awful. Like last season, we think it was Aston Villa who had to stay up on the last game of the season type of thing. I couldn't do that. I've had too many with promotions on the last game of the season to deal with that. To be where we are on 29 points after the games we've played, and we've still got 2 games in hand as well on the other teams. Obviously tomorrow night, and we've got a game against Southampton. I'd have snapped your hand off at that. And you look at it, we're not. It sounds daft, but we're not actually that far off the top 6. We're closer to top 6 than we are relegation, and that's, as a Leeds fan, that's unbelievable. And most Leeds fans you will speak to who are realistic will, again, they'd have snapped your hands off at that. With how we play, you genuinely didn't know what you were going to get this season. Some people said we were going to struggle, and yeah, we're having games. But overall, the way we play, and when I've obviously watching Leeds, I find other games now, watching other teams, so boring. I used to love football, like watching it all the time. I've literally watched Friday night, Saturdays, Sundays. Literally, I used to do the Mrs. Heading, watching so much football. But since Bielsa's come,
watching Palace.
Well, exactly. So any other game for you was great to watch. but then going from watching Leeds to, like you say, watching Wolves or Leicester, you said yes from earlier 0-0 and stuff, and I get bored sometimes watching other teams, and I genuinely turn it off early because I'm bored of watching it. With Leeds, you genuinely never know what you're going to get. It's great. It's
quite good to speak to someone who's level-headed and they're realistic, but from a polar perspective or opposite polar point, really, in the spectrum, that when you signed Llorente, you signed Koch, you signed Rodrigo, you signed Rafinha, those sort of players came in before the season started. I was quite taken aback that a lot of people on social media, Leeds connected, were saying, we're going to get Champions League. I mean, I was like, where's that coming from, man? That's just unbelievable. I couldn't get my head around that, honestly. And there's still a large section of your fan base that still believe that you're going to be top 6 or whatever. It's just, what?
Like I say, with our fans, for some reason, we'll win a couple and we're going to get top 6, and then we'll lose a couple. We're absolutely shite. We're going to be in a relegation battle, and that's just the fickleness of football fans, not just Leeds, just of football fans in general. But yeah, even when we spent 100 million in the summer, which was a lot more than I thought we would have spent. But with us, we've signed. I know people say Rodrigo's not done great, but on Wednesday night when we played Everton, we missed him because of how his link-up play. Yeah, he hadn't scored a lot of goals, and 27 million is a lot of money for him. But he has been class in my opinion. And same for Rafinha for 17 million. It's an absolute steal. And he left a club that were in the Champions League to come to us. So we're clearly building something behind the scenes for a player like that to want to come to us. You don't. And same with Rodrigo, he's number 9 at Spain. You don't just come to Leeds just off a whim, because we won't be paying stupid amounts of money for players in wages, because that's not how Radrizzani does it.
Who's your top earner?
I'd probably say Rodrigo now, but before it was Bamford, I reckon. But that's why Roof left, apparently, because Roof wanted the same wage as Bamford and Leeds won't give him it. That's why he went to Anderlecht, and now he's at Rangers. But yeah, I'd probably say it is Rodrigo. But
I was quite surprised to see him go. I didn't know that was the reason behind.
Yeah, and obviously I don't know ins and outs, but apparently rumoured that obviously he wanted a new contract. Leeds were willing to offer him one, but they won't give him the sort of money that Bamford were on.
Because he's still about 25, 26, isn't he? He's not like...
Yeah.
He's slightly old, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he's around about that. But Roof, like I say, I liked Roof. He was a good player, especially in his first season for us. Second season. His first season, he was a bit off the boil. But like I say, I liked Roof, and he's tearing it up in Scotland at the moment for Rangers. So I was surprised when he moved there, to be fair, because he'd only been at Anderlecht a season. But yeah, it's like I say, for us, where we are, I'm absolutely delighted. And like I say, most Leeds fans I speak to, like I said, my dad and stuff, if we'd have said where we are 11th after these amount of games, left the game, where we are, absolutely fantastic. Can't fault us at all.
Where are you going to finish, in your opinion?
I'd say around about 10th, 11th. I don't think we'll finish much higher. People saying about top 6, there's too many other teams doing on a good run. Arsenal have started picking up points. Villa seem to be on a roll after a bit of a bad run. Tottenham, you never know. They might drop down a bit further, so maybe get above Tottenham. But it's, I think the top 10's pretty much there or thereabouts. It's just sort of moving positions around, I think. I'd be, if we finished 11th or 10th and below, I'd be happy with that, as long as we don't go any lower.
Alex, I was going to say, our next 4 games, obviously we've got Leeds, we've got Burnley, I think we've got Brighton, and then we've got Fulham. How many points do you think we're getting out of that?
5.
Where are they coming from?
Are we going to get a draw against Leeds? We're going to get a win against Burnley. Yeah. And to be honest, I don't know. Possibly 5 or 6. I'd say 5 or 6.
I think tomorrow, I don't know what your thoughts are on this, Chris, but I think tomorrow's going to end up a draw. I'm pretty convinced.
Yeah, I'm convinced that too. So
yeah, I'm saying Leeds win.
1-1 or 2-2. It's definitely not going to be goalless. Definitely not going to be goalless.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting. So I've seen a lot of suggestions from neutrals as well that Palace are going to win 2-1. You get these people that just put out their predictions and stuff. 2-1 seems to be a popular choice for either way. I think if we contain you, I think you're going to struggle like you did against us at Selhurst. But it depends how we line up. I mean, if we go for it a little bit, which I can't see us doing, I think we're going to just try and contain you. I think we might end up stealing a win, perhaps. But I think a draw would be a fair result. I'd take that, to be honest, especially at Ellen Road. I'm gutted that I can't go, really. That fans aren't there, because I've never been to Ellen Road, so I would have loved to have gone. And if there was fans, Palace and Leeds, I mean, what an atmosphere that would have been.
Oh, God, yeah. Like I said,
I think it would probably be one of the best atmospheres in the league.
Yeah. Especially when you get Ellen Road rocking, it's just unbelievable. Like I literally live a stone throw away from it. So it's do you know what? That's actually worse for me, living so close on a match day, seeing the floodlights on and I can't be there. It's so hard. It really is.
How far away are you?
Literally, I can see the ground out my back garden.
Oh,
That's
wow.
how close it is. So it's literally it's so frustrating. It's to be so close and not be able to go. And it was funny last year when obviously the beginning of lockdown and it was the summer. You could still hear the inside the stadium with the players and like Victor Orta because he's absolutely mental. You could hear it from my house. That's how close it is. It's just it's unbelievable.
Are you season ticket holder then?
Yeah. Be season ticket. I'll go with me, my dad, my brother, my mum, my granddad, and my niece. So it's a big old family affair.
I love
But
it.
it's absolutely class. Where I sit in Cheese, it's just obviously it's mental in there. It's you got me granddad who's 80-odd-year-old getting jumped on by random people, but he absolutely loves it. It keeps him young. Do you know what I mean? He absolutely loves it. And it's different. It's been hard not going. It really has. I suppose it's everything. Like I say, with you guys, I know your atmospheres have always been top. My uncle lives down in London and he's a massive Leeds fan, but he's got a mate who's a Palace fan and he has been to Sellers Park a few bit, and he always says it's one of the best atmospheres he's ever been a part of. Is Sellers Park.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it comes across as a biased view, but me and Alex will both say, and if we were opposing fans, I'd still say it. The atmosphere at Sellers Park is ridiculous. The fans just don't stop singing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what drives teams sometimes when they're lagging a little bit. You get that from the fans, and obviously we're not been getting that, and likewise for other fans of other teams.
Yeah.
But obviously can't wait to get back to some sort of normality with there's 5,000-6,000 fans in, but that'd be the day.
Yeah, it's a shame, really. I mean, football without fans is a massive miss, of course. But we're coming towards the end of our time, and it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on, Chris. Really,
thanks for having us.
You coming on and giving your perspective on Leeds and your journey, etc. And I'm going for a 1-1 draw. That's my view.
Yeah.
Alex, what are you saying?
1-1.
Same. Chris,
I'm gonna be optimistic and say 3-1 Leeds. I'd love it to be like a 4-1 again, so I can give you back some shit from last time. But well, I'm gonna be confident.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when someone up north touches the naughty stuff. They come up with suggestions like that.
We'll see tomorrow. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. You've been listening to Eagles on Air through the Sportanarium stream. Hook Chris up on Twitter. Give him a follow. He's a good lad, good laugh, and can take the banter. And let's see what the game brings. And thanks for coming on, Chris. No problem. Thanks for having us, lads.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you.